Today's tea time topic is love is a state of being. And this goes in kind of my little series here to kind of help you come into your heart and brighten your self-love. I spend a lot of time reflecting on my own happiness. Some of it's professional because I try to help people come into happiness, and I actually have always been a very happy kid. My mom always told me that I was super jolly when I was a kid and laughing most of the time. I mean, I had shifty sides, certainly, that I was facing, but for the most part, I've always been joyful. And so I thought, like, what is it exactly that makes me joyful? What is love anyways? And I realized love is a state of being. It's that you are being in love. And a lot of people try to focus on being in love with someone else. Now, I argue you're never really in love with someone else, really. I think what it is that you love being you when you're with them. You love being you more than you ever love being you when you're with them. And that makes you wonder, well, can you just love being you without being in front of them? You know what I mean? And you can. I think that's why we have past life relationships come in, because these people are not necessarily meant to be in our life this time, but they remind us of why we love being ourselves. Usually from the positive, not the negative, but sometimes why we love being ourselves from the negative, that we attract what we're not, and then we love being ourselves and we're grateful we're not them. You know what I mean? Like that sort of thing. So love is a state of being. How do you be in love with yourself? Well, you know what? I learned that I do things that I love. I remember when I was a kid, I loved playing Legos. I mean, I loved playing Legos so much. Me and my brothers would build little empires. My parents bought us a shift load of Legos, and I loved being there to where I wouldn't pee, I wouldn't eat, I wouldn't leave the basement. I was just down there all day. I was in a state of love. I was living totally on my heart's energy, and I didn't need any food. I was living on love. Now I've learned I should eat. You know what I mean? And Mom has taught me that as well. But through my life, I found other things that put me into a state of love. When I found orchestra and I became a violist and I was a kid, I loved the sound of being in the center of a symphony orchestra. I absolutely loved it. It brought such ecstasy to me. I loved being Christopher Witecki in that orchestra, and I just cherished those moments. Now, I hated the practicing. I totally hated doing scales. I hated going to perform to competition. You know what I mean? So it didn't last very long. The point is you have to do some work to set up to be in that state of being in love with being you in that moment. And I have to say, it's a very private thing. It does not require another person. In fact, if you understand how to be in love with being yourself and be in love with your life, then when you are with someone, it's like quadruple the love fun, okay? No one is filling someone else's gap. Nobody is cheering someone else up. No one has to convince someone to have fun in the first place, which to me is takes 600 lifetimes to realize, you know? Another thing was chess. Again, a past life passion, but I got in the chess club when I was in 8th grade. I loved playing chess. I loved trying to analyze it. I realize now that was my grand trine and air awakening. But I loved it so much. I spent countless hours doing chess with others. Now, that did involve playing others, but it was an ego thing, me trying to outsmart them. It was all personal. Then I got into yearbook and publishing, and in high school I got into journalism, and I loved that, and I loved being a journalist. So I want to show you that I think these were all past lives that I was awakening, but the point is we all have many parts of ourselves that we love being. You have many choices of things you can do, and I got into them and then put them down, and I want you to know that's okay, because I have an endless desire to love myself and love being alive more. So the more you give into it, the more you love that state of being of love. Then it became movies when I went to high school, and decided I want to be a filmmaker. I went to film school. I watched movies for 5 years in film school, nothing but analyzing movies. Loved it so much. Loved that I had permission to watch movies for my, education. Am I doing it now? No, I probably will one day, but it doesn't matter. I loved it. Okay, and I love thinking about movies. So the point here, if you don't know, I'm sharing some of my life and also teaching a point. And then, of course, I will just end, with this topic, astrology. When I discovered astrology, the secrets to everyone's who they are and what drives them, oh my gosh, endless and endless hours of studying and talking and sharing, of which, if you wonder why I'm happy here, I mean, I love astrology and sharing and using the wisdom of astrology to share certain things. So the moral of the story here is love is a state of being. You got to put yourself into a state where you are being love, where you are in love with being you. And you need a dose of that every day. I'll talk about different ways to do it, but think about that today.